morning and warm welcome to Super Screen News at 6, broadcasting to you live from Lagos. I am Adenike Oweye Ajiboye. President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed sadness over some amendments made by the National Assembly to the 2018 Appropriation Bill before signing it into law. The president discussed this in Abuja when he signed the bill into law more than a month after it was passed and over 7 months after he presented the bill to the lawmakers.
I am concerned about some of the changes that the National Assembly has made to the budget proposals that I presented. The logic behind the constitutional direction that budgets should be proposed by the executive is that it is the executive that knows and defines the policies and projects. Unfortunately, that has not been given much regard in what has been sent to me. The National Assembly made cuts amounting to 347 billion naira in the allocation to 4,700 projects submitted to them for consideration and introduced 6,403 projects of their own amounting to 578 billion naira. Many of the projects cut are critical and may be difficult, if not impossible, to implement. With the reduced allocation, some of the new projects inserted by the National Assembly have not been properly conceptualized, designed, and costed, and will therefore be difficult to execute.
President Buhari signed the budget in company of Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, and the Chief of Staff to the President, Abba Kyari, and some ministers with lawmakers.
We can only consider and pass. Okay, and based on the processes we face as an institution, certainly you wouldn't expect us to just rubber stamp a budget and just bring it back. We have to do the nitty-gritties of budget considerations. That is, it was not too long, my sister. We don't look at it as too long. Whatever is worth doing should be done very well. And we have done the right thing we think we should do to deliver on the expectation and the mandate bestowed on us by the people of our constituencies.
The job of parliamentarians is a very difficult one. The way the budget came, if we have allowed it to go that way, we will have been in trouble with those who elected us into office. You have to balance between the 6 geopolitical zones. So it's the balancing effort by the National Assembly that led to those observations. And happily enough, he himself has said he's coming with a supplementary appropriation which will be dealt with as quickly as possible. I assure you about that one.
Lawmakers speaking there. Now, Senate President Bukola Saraki has led a delegation of senators to Russia on a 3-day parliamentary visit. Saraki, who disclosed this on his social media, said the visit is aimed at deepening legislative best practices and strengthening the relationship between both countries. The delegation, which includes Godswill Akpabio, Olushola Adeyeye, Monsurat Sumonu, Duro Fashehi, Obinna Ogba, and Ibrahim Dambaba were received by Nigeria's ambassador to Russia, Steve Davis Ugba. And away from this, the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has announced plans to hold a referendum towards the restoration of the defunct Republic of Biafra. IPOB spokesman Ima Powerful, who disclosed this in a statement, said the first phase of the 3-stage referendum will take place in 2018. Although the IPOB spokesman did not disclose the dates for the planned plebiscite, he revealed that 40 million ballot papers are being printed for the exercise. Powerful maintained that his mission is to restore Biafra's sovereignty via a democratic process and through the instrumentality of a 3-stage referendum. The federal government says it will do everything possible to ensure ISIS members do not convert any part of Nigerian nation into a training ground to breed terrorists. Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Defense, Nuratu Batagarawa, discussed this to journalists at the 7th meeting of Ministers of Defense of the Sahel-Saharan states in Abuja. Batagarawa said the federal government is aware of the report that the ISIS group are bringing in jihadists from Syria into Nigeria to train them as terrorists for possible attacks in Britain.
The purpose of these regional organizations, of course, are to tackle common problems through intelligence sharing, experience sharing, all of it to ensure that we checkmate the transborder crimes in whatever forms. We all heard about the recruitment of ISIS or whatever. Yes, it's on the table. This is on the top agenda of the censored meeting. It will be discussed elaborately with a view to finding solutions to curbing this movement. Because obviously such movements are probably illegal, are mostly illegal, and government is taking cognizance, has taken cognizance of this. The community, the organization itself is aware of this and is already taking a concerted view towards finding a lasting solution to containing this illegal movements and illegal associations.
Well, the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Defense, Nuratu Batagarawa, speaking there. Now, moving on, the federal government and some states have agreed to set up cattle ranches in 10 states to end the herders' farmers' crisis in the country. The 10 states in the first phase of the National Ranching Project are Adamawa, Benue, Ebonyi, Edo, Kaduna, Nasarawa, Oyo, Plateau, Taraba, and Zamfara states. The Secretary of the National Executive Council, NEC, Subcommittee, Andrew Kwasari, discussed this at the unveiling of the National Economic Council's National Livestock Transformation Plan in Abuja. Kwasari also said the federal government and states will spend 70 billion naira in the first 3 years of the pilot phase of the program, and 179 billion naira will be spent over a period of 10 years in the national livestock implementation. Nigerians have been urged to utilize the policy framework and national action plans as a basis for engaging government at all levels. Coordinator, Counterterrorism Center, CTC, Office of the National Security Advisor, Yem Musa, disclosed this during a special training workshop held in Abuja. Yem charged state governments to develop their national action plans for preventing and countering violent extremism that are locally relevant.
The policy framework has been developed, endorsed, and launched and presented to the public in Nigeria has 4 major objectives. One is strengthening institutions and coalition of preventing and countering violent extremism. 2, strengthening the rule of law, access to justice and human rights. 3, engaging communities and building resilience. And 4, integrating strategic communication in preventing and countering violent extremism. We have included strategic implementation matrix to guide government and non-governmental organizations in delivering the 3 years national action plan set in the policy framework. To the policy framework, all ministries, departments, and agencies are expected to mainstream the policy framework into their annual budget and program and to ensure implementation. The purpose of this training, therefore, is to provide liaison officers and participants the ways and means by which the National Action Plan can be implemented. In order to achieve this, I wish to highlight some of the immediate steps we are taking moving forward. We are expecting that civil society organization will engage every stakeholders of government in articulating their project activities before seeking donor support to drive it. We also expect that donor partners will liaise with the Office of National Security Advisor by way of vetting any program of activities in order to align such activities and programs with government policies and action plans. More importantly, the policy is for all Nigerians. We ensure it is rendered in a simple and accessible manner to guide government personnel, non-governmental organizations, and indeed all Nigerians in developing community-based initiatives. The objective is to cascade down to families and communities to build resilience, prevent and counter all forms of violent extremism.
You will recall that in December 2015, United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon issued a call to member states to develop national plans aimed at preventing violent extremism. Lawmaker representing Borno South Senatorial District, Ali Ndume, has called on security agencies to focus on two identified hideouts of the Boko Haram insurgents, reacting to the attacks by insurgents on Damboa local government area, Borno State, which left scores of people dead. Ndume said the areas are Damboa, Gwaza, and Chibok axis and the Lake Chad axis. You recall that 31 persons were killed and 48 others injured in a massive bomb attack launched on Damboa. The United Nations UN has urged Nigerian authorities to give more attention to protecting children and girls who were victims of sexual violence and abuse by the Boko Haram terrorists. Special Representative of the Secretary General on Sexual Violence, Pramila Patton, disclosed this to journalists at the International Day for the Elimination of Sexual Violence in Conflicts. According to Patton, the plight of the girls who were victims of sexual violence and abuse by Boko Haram terrorists were among the discussion for the day. The Nigeria Bar Association NBA in Edo State is set to address the increasing difficulty of Nigerian citizens in seeking accessible legal services. The state NBA chairman, Collins Ogbekban, who disclosed this at the 2018 Annual Law Week, said the new law will aid the establishment of affordable public legal services. This, according to him, will serve the society in the pursuit of legal issues.
The role of the bar and the bench, even in the face of booming guns and blaring sirens, remains as always that of the bastion of justice, the last hope of the common man, the protector of the rights of all and sundry, including the government itself. That is the traditional role.
Others who spoke lauded the new law and described it as a giant stride in the administration of justice.
It has never been easy acquiring legal education. From the beginning, it has always been a costly venture to want to be a lawyer. So it's not today that I started. If you look in the history, it's the children of the laws that become lawyers. So what we're finding today is that people who are survived are also coming to the profession.
Members in Edo State speaking there. No fewer than 2 people have been killed, with many others fired dead after piles of plywood fell from an overloaded truck on the Ojuelegba Bridge in Lagos State. Report says 3 commercial buses and a car belonging to the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital were trapped under the plywood. Officials of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency and State Fire Service Coordinated Rescue Operation said one of the officials, in which 2 people have been reportedly dead, while 3 commuters have been rescued. You're still watching Super Screen News at 6. We'll take a short break from here, and when we return, it will be time for some business news. Join us again. Well, it's so glad to have you back. Now, in business world, the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission recently, RMAFC, says auditors who helped to recover 58 billion naira into the Federation account are to receive 8.7 billion naira for their efforts. The acting chairman, RMAFC, Umar Ghana, who disclosed this, said 48.7 billion naira of the recovered money had been paid into the Federation account. He also said 9.07 billion naira relating to a withholding tax on dividend only had been released to the benefiting states' boards of internal revenue. The equities market of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, NSE, has finished lower at the close of trading after a 2-day public holiday. The market capitalization of listed equities dropped to 14 trillion naira from 14 trillion naira on Thursday, while the NSE All-in Share Index fell by 0.6% to close at 38.664.15 basis points. 34 stocks recorded losses on Tuesday, with Prestige Assurance PLC leading the pack as its share price declined by 6% to close at 0.60. Union Diagnostic and Clinical Services PLC shed 5% to close at 0.38 naira per share, while Flour Mills of Nigeria PLC depreciated by 4% to close at 31 naira per share. Fort Oil PLC eased by 4% to close at 35 naira per share, while Fidelity Bank PLC dropped by 4% to 2 naira per share. To more business news, report says power generation has risen to 3,000 megawatts after the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) fixed the ruptured gas pipeline. The data obtained from the Transmission Company of Nigeria (TCN) shows that the country's power generation increased by 1,304 megawatts as it moved up from the 2,572 megawatts recorded to 3,876.9 megawatts. You will recall that power generation had plunged to about 2,905 megawatts on Friday from 3,992 megawatts following the rupturing of the gas pipeline belonging to the Nigerian Gas Company, as well as technical issues at the gas wells of an international oil company, Shell, on June 16. And that's it in business news. We'll take another short break from here, and when we return, we'll bring you news from the foreign scene and then sports. So join us again.
Before they come, they're supposed to, give us some information. Notice. At least maybe a week or so. There was nothing like that.
Hunger is everywhere in Nigeria. People are dying every day, but Nigeria government are keeping